Today, let's talk about Jungkook taking a break from music for a little bit. We also have people believing that the Grammys insulted BTS during the ceremony, and then we have legal action surrounding Jungkook and what happened there. So hey Dumplings, Dave Desai, hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on, grab your dumpling, a tea spilling mug merch, and let's go. There's been this sort of ongoing litigation against someone allegedly in the government, and Jungkook. This is not typically surprising, as every big company, big celebrity, or big business person ends up getting several of these types of legal issues. Even small businesses have to deal with it often. As the bigger you get, the more people can make money off of things that are yours, and of course cross into lines of something that is personal or private. So what am I talking about here today? Well, Jungkook had previously lost his hat. It became pretty obvious that Jungkook lost this hat as he didn't try to replace it or buy one that looked similar. He just simply did not wear this specific bucket hat anymore, and the fans were wondering why, as he is known for this specific look and for wearing that hat. It was alleged at the time that Jungkook lost his hat when he was getting his diplomatic passport for his travels to be at the UN. He then must have dropped his hat or misplaced it at an office and forgot about it. It seemed like it sat there for a while, and Jungkook never called to claim it or went back to get it, as I believe he could have made a trip to the office to go and get it if the office was in Korea. Apparently the hat sat for a while, and then an alleged former government official took the hat and decided to sell it on the market for about $70,000 US. And then there was a lot of backlash, not only because people were upset that something personal and private of Jungkook was being sold and sold for the ridiculously high price, but the fact that something that would probably mean a lot to Jungkook was not sent back to him. There's also a law in Korea to say that if you find an item on the floor and take it within a certain time period, that is considered theft. It should be placed in a lost and found for a little bit, and then it can be taken without being considered theft. But to resell it is definitely a very gray area. The former government employee saw the backlash and decided to turn himself in for investigation. I suppose he was worried that he did break the law, and also to probably check if this was Jungkook's hat. HYBE allegedly later confirmed to the police officers that Jungkook did lose his hat, and allegedly the former government employee who tried to sell the hat will receive charges. This is interesting because it doesn't seem like Jungkook himself got involved at all. The situation just played out on its own, and Jungkook's name was dropped, but he may not even really care about the situation. He definitely knows this is happening, as if HYBE had to confirm if the hat was lost, then they had to have asked Jungkook. So you might be wondering what happened to the hat from here on out. Well, the hat is being run through the government's return procedures, and I am assuming that Jungkook will actually eventually get the hat back. And I think it'll be funny when Jungkook does get it back and then he wears it again in a picture or at the airport. I think that would definitely make headlines, and armies would be like, he got it back. But this is a weird story. The fact that the hat caused all these issues. There's a lot of things to be stressed about when you're a celebrity at that level. Of course, there's situations like this where you could feel violated, and I'm sure that happens often, but there's also situations where you just want to go and leave. You want to remember what it was like to not have the spotlight on you and just take a break. Jungkook, during his recent live stream, talked about how he hasn't been doing much lately. So aside from posting on social media, there would be nothing that he could do himself. Jungkook said that a lot of people must be anticipating an album, and yes, of course we are, and continued to say that the other members are making albums as an extension of BTS, while he has come to a full stop. Him being at a full stop makes sense. Jungkook has the most time before he has to enlist, so it makes sense that he may delay his solo album as one of the last ones to go before all 7 members are enlisted. The problem I have here is that the success of Dreamers would have been a good opportunity to release an album, I feel. But knowing the boys and knowing Jungkook, it likely would not have been the best time, as the album would have been rushed. Armies were upset that Jungkook was going on a full stop, and that apparently HYBE had not prepared any activities for him to do. Doing collaboration shows or anything like that would be fine, but nothing like that happened. Although he may be up and running again when BTS reality show Run BTS kicks back up in full swing. We do react to it on Patreon. We currently have a $1 tier with limited spots open. If you would like to join and have laughs with me, I will link all that in the description. Now, I have mixed feelings about Jungkook not doing anything. I think Jungkook should take time to himself and enjoy his time off, as he doesn't get to do that ever. But does Jungkook actually want to do anything? HYBE is very much a self-starter type of label. They follow a very Western style of music or entertainment management, which means that in order for things to happen, you may have to do some things yourself. I.e., if Jungkook is currently being heavily reported on for whatever reason, this would make TV stations call him for more appearances, and then HYBE can set that up. There's other instances in which a publicist at HYBE could actually make things happen for him, which is probably what some armies are saying that HYBE should do. However, if there's nothing for Jungkook Jungkook to promote, it doesn't quite make sense for him to do anything. And Jungkook could very well just hop into the studio or write music. But if he is choosing to lounge around and enjoy his time off, he deserves that. After all, he literally just performed at the World Cup. There really isn't a bigger honor or stage than that. He deserves a break. But I also don't think if Jungkook wanted to work on projects, HYBE would say no. It's interesting because Jungkook has said that he has adapted pretty quickly, and so he has adapted very quickly to not working, which is so nice for him. And then he will adapt quickly when things start back up again, which it of course will start back up. I don't think ARMYs need to worry or be upset at HYBE. These things happen all the time in the industry, and a lot of labels operate like this, where they will put an artist on the back burner for a small amount of time while they work on other artists. Right now, those other artists were Jin, RM, J-Hope, and now Jimin very soon. Of course, all of these boys work so hard, and it's very hard to see when the members get insulted by the Grammys, or if ARMYs tend to feel like the members are insulted. They will erupt. Grammys took place very recently, and BTS did not attend because they're not all together right now, but they did get a nomination. I guess they figured why attend, as they probably will not win. People were upset that BTS's newer songs, like the solo album songs, were not nominated and were upset. However, the Grammys are usually an award for the songs of the previous year before October, so any songs released after that will not be eligible for the following year's Grammys, but the year after. And then in order to get a nomination, it's not done by the Academy, but by the producers of that song. They have the power to nominate. So the more producers that work on a track, the more likely it has the ability to get a nomination. Hence, artists like Beyonce and only BTS's English or American releases tend to be nominated. So J-Hope, RM, or whoever can be nominated for Grammy in 2024. But BTS being nominated is still such a cool honor, and I think they're happy. So you think that this is all fine and dandy, but there was an issue with the BTS Yet to Come nomination. And I would say for the first time ever, I kind of agree with the backlash that the Grammys got for this thing I'm about to mention. So what happened? Well, if you watch the awards ceremony, you know that when they announce said nominations, they will flash a little snippet or a photo of the song. So usually the cover art will be on display right above the name of the song that is nominated. But what allegedly happened here was that they used a very weird photo to represent Yet to Come. A lot of people who watch the Grammys might not even be aware of the song. So using the cover art is very important here for not only the exposure of the song, but for people to get a good idea of what the song is about. But allegedly the cover art was not used, and nothing from the music video was used. I did not watch the Grammys, so I cannot confirm 100%, but what was floating around was a Hyundai photo. So BTS did a campaign with Hyundai, who also used the song. So we allegedly had this photo of BTS members in front of Hyundai cars as the Grammy nomination photo. That's so weird. People felt like this had to have been a lack of research, because if you simply watched the video or went a bit further than just Google image search the song, you'd see that the song has nothing to do with cars. It's even more annoying given the history with BTS and Grammys. The nomination is determined by producers, and then the actual winning of awards is supposed to be determined by a board of men in the industry who take in consideration musicality and maybe popularity. The fact that a weird photo was used to represent the song shows that yes, this was probably a different department that aired the photo, but it showed that the Academy has no interest in even listening to BTS's music to determine if it should be a Grammy award-winning song, which is very frustrating. And if they did listen, they're likely not looking into the lyrics and meaning of the song. In that case, how can BTS ever win? I do think that a lot of that could have to do with the Grammys just not wanting to have Korean songs win. That's just my theory. But no worries on how the members might feel about this or how Jung Kook might react. Jung Kook has talked previously about how he doesn't really care about winning an award and just wants people to acknowledge that he is good at what he does, which is very true. He is very good at what he does, and he has gotten that praise, so mission accomplished. But what do you think about all this? Do you think Grammys insulted BTS with that photo? Do you like that Jungkook quit music for a little bit to take a break? And how do you feel about the legal issues surrounding Jungkook's hat? Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.